Hey, what's up guys? Patrick Sebastien here, performance coach for golf. So as I rebuild the foundation of my golf swing, the technical foundation of my golf swing, I've been putting a lot of emphasis on what my feet are doing and what my legs are doing. Because I think that's where all of those ground forces come in, and that's what's gonna help you generate that speed, power, and stability in your swing. So doing some research, I found a video from Xander Schauffele, who's a pretty decent golfer, and he was explaining exactly what he looks for as far as foot pressure and where he wants to feel that pressure in his legs. And so he was talking about how on the backswing, he wants to feel that pressure on the inside part, the inside front part of his back foot. So up near the big toe. That really resonated with me because last season I was watching some videos of a driver swing of mine, and I noticed that once in a while I had this tendency to roll onto the outside of my back foot. So if that back foot is rolling onto the outside like that, I am losing stability and I'm definitely losing a lot of energy in that, right? I'm looking for energy efficiency, and that's gonna take away some of that stability and some of that energy efficiency. So by pushing my front part of the foot into the ground, I'm preventing that rolling action from happening. Next thing, as he continues, he feels like he's feeling that pressure in his right glute, his back glute muscle, right? And that's where you're gonna load. So all of that power is kind of stored into the leg, especially in that back glute. And then the really interesting part for me was when he talks about the transition phase, and he says that's where he wants to feel that the pressure is moving from the inside front part of his back foot into the heel of his front foot. Okay, so he's pushing his heel into the ground, and that's gonna straighten out that leg and create that space that we want right here for the club to pass. But also by pushing your heel into the ground, you're gonna be activating that front glute muscle, and that's gonna create the power that you're looking for with that vertical force, right? When we push off that front leg, that's the vertical force, and that's gonna be a huge source of speed and power for your swing. And that's the part that I've really been focusing on. When I did a swing analysis last year and I was able to get on some force plates, I found out that I had great horizontal force. I'm pushing no problem this way, but the problem was my vertical force was very weak, which means I was not using that front leg properly. So that's what I've been putting a lot of emphasis on. So understanding this idea that I want to push my heel into the ground, and that's going to clear that hip, clear that space, and generate the vertical force that I'm looking for, okay? So now what I like to do, and this is also a martial arts principle, is it's one thing to understand a movement pattern or understand a technique, but if you really want it to make it your own, you have to repeat it. Repetition is extremely important because I don't want to be standing over the golf ball and thinking, okay, inside foot, back glute, transition to the heel, front glute, vertical force. Like that is way too much thinking. I just want to swing the golf club eventually. At first, we have to be a little more conscious. We have to go through those different swing thoughts. But eventually, once this movement pattern becomes automatic, that I don't have to think about it, that's going to be a way better experience when I'm hitting the ball. But in order for it to become automatic, I have to drill it. I have to repeat it over and over and over again. And it's way easier to drill these movement patterns without a club, without a ball, okay? As soon as that ball is involved, it's a lot harder to stay focused on the different aspects of the movement pattern. I also like to use resistance. Now, for some drills, I love using resistance bands, but because this drill is going in both directions, I would technically need two bands, one on each side, a little bit complicated to set up. So instead, I'm using this 5-pound mace, all right? You could probably do this with a dumbbell, or they also have like weighted bars at most gyms that you can get from 5, 10, 15 pounds. So I have a 5-pound mace. I'm gonna get into my golf stance, set up the way that I need to for my swing. Now, as I take the club back, first thing I look for is I'm pushing that front part of my foot into the ground on the back. Then I'm gonna feel my right glute activate as I squat down. And then as I go into that transition, I want to feel that transition into my left heel, straighten out the leg and bring the weight through to here. And then I'll go straight back into my backswing, and again to the front, and again to the back, and again to the front, and again to the back. And even here, notice how I pause for a sec. That's just to make sure that I'm feeling it where I want to, this spot and this spot. And then when I get to here, I'm gonna pause and make sure that I feel it in my left heel. I can even feel like my front foot is rolling a little bit to the outside because that's normal. As soon as I start transitioning into that downswing, I'm gonna feel that pressure want to be relieved and rolling onto that foot, or even some players even just open up that foot completely to take a lot of that pressure off the knee, right? Because if I just freeze that foot there and I try to hold it there, that's gonna put a lot of pressure on my knee. So I wanna relieve that pressure by releasing that energy into the club and allowing my foot to kind of release that pressure with it, all right? So one more time, get into my golf stance. I have my weight here. On my backswing, I'm pushing into the ground with that front inside part of the back foot, feeling my right glute or rear glute load up. Then as the weight comes down, I'm transitioning that pressure into the heel of my front foot, straightening out the leg, turning the core, and then I come all the way back. And by doing these drills, these repetitions, not only is a great way to learn a new movement pattern, but it's also a good workout, especially if you have some weight involved. So I'll do maybe 10 reps, 15 reps, depending. And then because it's a workout, even if I don't hit from the other side, I still want to do both sides to make sure that I get a nice even workout. It's a little bit trickier, harder to get those feels when it's a side that you're not used to, but all the more reason to do it. It might actually help you to kind of learn that movement pattern a little bit quicker by doing it on both sides. All right, so give that a try. Let me know how it goes. Have an amazing day. Peace.